Today we're talking marathons, and in particular the 20-mile training run. Is it really necessary? Let me know what you think by popping your comment in the comment section below. I'm Lindsey Parry from CoachParry.com. Before we can answer the question, should you or shouldn't you run a 20-mile training run, let's unpack where it came from. Marathon running is traditionally where crazy people feared to tread. So there were a very small number of people that used to run marathon runners. They were, and in some respects, people who run marathons are still seen as superheroes. But certainly in the pioneering days, only really good runners ran marathons, and they were very fast. And so effectively what has happened is that over the years, the training principles of elite athletes have filtered down into the general population, because as marathon running became more popular and people wanted to challenge themselves and start to go further and further, the only people they had to look to were the people that pioneered the sport. And so if that's how they ran a marathon, that's how I need to run a marathon. And that is essentially where the history of the 20-miler or 20-mile training run that you must do as a rite of passage to be able to run a marathon. Now that you know where that 20-mile training run came from, you're asking yourself the question, is it really necessary? And to be quite honest with you, it does depend on a number of factors. So the vast majority of people who are running marathons to finish a marathon certainly do not need a 20-mile run from a physiological or physical perspective to prepare them to be able to finish a 26-mile run. And I would argue that between 15 and 17 miles is probably a much more appropriate distance for people who fall into that category. If, however, you are looking to race a marathon and to run it in the best possible time, there are lessons that we need to learn out of running a 20-miler around fueling strategies, pacing strategies, and so on. And so it's probably a good idea for someone who's very serious about the marathon to do one or maximum two 20-mile runs in their preparation. And then there is another aspect that we can't ignore when it comes to marathon running, and that is the psychological aspect. And for the vast majority of people who feel like they need to do a 20-miler, they do it because once they've gotten through that 20-mile barrier, they really feel the confidence to go the next step, which is to add another 6 miles on and get their medal on race day. So I will allow people that need that confidence, the security blanket of having done it. If you've done a marathon before and you're, for example, trying to go around the world and do all the majors, once you've gotten that psychological barrier out of the way and you know that you can finish a marathon, I would propose that you probably perform better on race day without the 20-miler. I touched on who should be doing the 20-mile training run and what they want to get out of it. So let's just unpack that a little bit more. The 20-mile run provides us with a really unique opportunity to figure out exactly what we want to do and when we want to do it on race day. So for those of you that really want to push the limit of what your abilities are on the marathon, this is a really good training run to get close to, not exactly, but close to the race pace that you are planning on doing, to work out your fueling strategy, make sure that you are getting enough energy in while you are racing, but very importantly is that you can take the product you plan to take at the intensity that you plan to race at. And this is a mistake that a lot of people make, because it's very easy on an easy training run to take in whatever you like. You can probably eat a sandwich when you're running easy and running long, but at race pace, where you're starting to breathe a little hard, it's much harder to drink and it's much harder to take in your preferred product. So this is key to race day success. And in a marathon, where most people get it wrong is early pacing and not fueling properly. And those are the exact boxes you want to tick on your 20-mile training run. Knowing what we want to get out of the 20-mile training run, it then becomes very important to decide where and when in the training plan am I going to do that 20-mile training run, and should we be doing more than one. Because we are putting in place an idea of what our pacing strategy is going to be, we definitely need to give ourselves a little bit of time to recover from that 20-mile training run. And so I would advise, again, a little bit of variation depending on your exact ability and training goal and how long you have been training for, is that you want to place that 20-mile training run between 3 and 4 weeks before race day. As an experienced marathon runner, if you've done 3, 4, 5 marathons, I would place a second and potentially a third 20-mile training run, but those will be easy, long, slow distance, and they won't perform the same function as the traditional 20-mile long run. That we only want to do once, and we want to do it between 3 and 4 weeks before race day. I'd love to know what your longest training run is for a marathon. Drop that into the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And we've recently shot a video that unpacks exactly how to get the balance of your training right. If you're interested in watching, you can click on the video on your screen right now.